All right, and here we are for a strange video. Got a CD drive, external C drive for my PC. So, old PC games, I guess, is going to be the thing that I guess I will maybe post. I don't know. I just feel like recording this in case I do feel like posting it. Mostly doing this because it's one of the study games. Anyway, so a little backstory of this, aside from that why I'm doing this content now. Also, actually look at the file. Oh my god, this is so many more files than Pajama Sam. Oh my god, look at how many files this is. So, yeah, like I said, got CD drive, playing old games. This one specifically, I mean, you know, it, I had it for what's been, possession for as long as I could possibly remember, and then it was gotten from my sister probably, and it's just been sitting in a desk drawer next to me for God knows how long, as I've been doing literally everything on this channel. And eventually it's just like now we got the CG drive, so we can play these games. Uh, Funny thing about this one, the case it came in. First off, it's a just paper case, which incredibly flimsy, literally falling apart. Uh, the CD wasn't actually inside of the case. The like plastic covering, so you could see the CD, came off, and the CD was between that and the actual like paper bit that's supposed to be around that plastic covering. So the bottom of the disc was like attached to this plastic. I had to get a few tissues, one wet, one dry, and then just very damp. Wipe it down, works like new. Is God. Looking at the packaging here, just because it's next to me, let's just read the system requirements. 8 megabytes of RAM. I don't know if I could run that with my 16 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, 16 is bigger than 8, so I think I barely make it probably. Uh, Double speed CD-ROM drive. I have no idea what that even means. Civiga, 640 by 480, 256 color graphics. Sound card. Not like any specific like quality. Just you should have one. It reminds me of a freaking Shotgun King. And they're like system requirements for that on Steam. I can actually pull that up. Hold up. Shotgun King. Pull this up really
Let
quickly.
this old bishop tell you a tale, a
Okay,
tale most.
okay. No one cares about your. Where this is a video about Putt Putt goes to the zoo. Yeah, here it is. Graphics. You need a screen. You make a space processor. Yes, you should have one. Sound card. If your computer can play sound, it should be good. That's what reading these requirements sound like in the current year. IBM PC? What is it? Yeah, I don't even know what these words mean. Oh, Windows 95. God, and 3.1. Okay, wow. Oh, wait, this isn't even for. This isn't even the packaging for Putt Putt. This is for Backyard Baseball, another game which I will most certainly be recording. Okay. Now that's all out of the way. Just sample through the files here a little bit. First off, we have a README. Uh, it's the exact same things I was looking at before. Yeah, you could see right here, 8 megabytes of RAM, minimum 25 mega. Guys, my monitor is 180. My monitor is 180. Oh, my God. Okay. just very interesting to read through. Make it just a blank file because I don't want people going through my various files inside there. I probably have to censor it. Oh, we have an install? That's weird. Alright, well, let's just run the exe. So, oh yeah, another really neat thing about this. The demos. I mean, they're just stored right here and you could open them up just the same as anything else, on this. I seem to remember when I was, younger, that this stuff just opened automatically and you never had to like, worry about all this. Obviously, I mean the code's from before I was even born, so it doesn't exactly work on modern systems, it seems like, for that type of stuff, but I mean the game itself runs fine. Well, relatively. There's certainly some hiccups here and there. All right. Well, cannot run due to incompat. No. Oh, is this not going to be a Putt Putt video? Oh, can't be serious. Oh, okay, I guess. All right, let's figure this out. Okay, so part two in figuring this out. Apparently, oh, play this game. For some reason, I think it was already on the Pajama Sam disk, which quite a surprise. I had to get this running. Uh, Computer said it might have been a virus, but I mean it's Putt Putt. Oh my god! So okay. But it runs.
Fill your tank, save the soup. Get in stats, save the soup. Check your tires, save the soup. And go get paddles, save the soup. Putt Putt, save the soup. Putt Putt, save the soup. Putt Putt, you've got to save the soup. Putt Putt, 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 save the soup.
Good morning, Mr. Baldini. Today's the opening of the Cartown Zoo.
I know, but it's a bigger day. How would you and a pepper like to take some zoo chow over there before they open?
Would we ever, Mr. Baldini?
Wonderful. Here you go. Now you make sure that you give it to Outback Al, the new zookeeper.
Don't worry. You can always count on me.
Good luck, Putt Putt.
One thing notable Jam Sam, every single room had normal things, with the exception of the staircase behind where you are capable of getting the magnet, where you had 3 candles. That was it for some reason. And a few transitional rooms that had absolutely nothing. Here, 3, 4, 5,
It says Baldini's Grocery Store.
Hiya!
You also get press escape to skip thing, which, on your first when you played this as a kid, you did not know that. Hell, as a kid, you didn't even know that there was escape key was. Which, that having one first screen is actually, I guess I should say, is the one exception in the Jam Sam. The first one had 15 interactable icons, which is, 2, 3, 4,
pretty far now.
Yeah, that was a lot. I'm saying one more thing around here. So I guess this is a advertisement since most of these are property players, so I can understand why people have very little extra. Once again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's strange, this one only has 7. But you understand, it was a very hard rule. Like, there was falling down a lot. Wow. Alright, sorry for all of you being deafened. But yeah, I was saying, I don't know if you were able to hear me over the course of the volume being blasted back there. Every room in Pajama Sam had, 9 interactable objects. Sometimes it would be 10, but it was 9, 10. Right? With the exception of 2 rooms. The room you start the game in, which had 15, and the staircase behind the moving bookshelf, which had only the 3 candles. Other than that, there was a few rooms that, you couldn't really click anything on, but it's just transitional, whatever. So I'm currently just counting out, is this count as one interactable object? Because what I'm really thinking here is, in the developer's, design document, they probably had requirements for, here's how many things we have in each screen. Something like this feels like it's only 2 things, since it's just a repeating element, right? It really just kind of goes to show, how much thought was actually put into these things on a, deeper level.
It says Cartown Zoo.
Yeah, but no, here it's, so you got that, you click on, there's a musical number if you click these guys, but I don't want to torture you guys, so we will not be. Alright, we're gonna skip some of the dialogue here, more inconsequential things, that. Since we are here ultimately to...
I brought you some zoo chow.
Thank you, matey. You know, I'm glad you showed up. It's
This
been
looks
quite
so
a
dark.
morning,
I'm
all
gonna
right.
see.
What with the zoo opening today, I've so much to fix. Bridges, boats, the works. But the worst of it is that some of the baby animals are missing. Can't find them anywhere.
Hey! I can look for the missing baby animals while you take care of the stuff that needs fixing.
Jackaroo, you're on. Of course, we can't open the zoo until they're all rescued. So I'm counting on you, Putt Putt. Here, this should help you out. It's a list of everyone who's missing.
Baby Jumbo the elephant, Masai the giraffe, Kenya the lion cub, Zanzibar the hippopotamus, Sammy Seal, and Little Skeeter the snake. I'll find them for you.
Good day and good luck, Putt Putt. Well, I'm off to fix up the place.
See you later, Outback Gal.
Oh god, dying. Alright, trying to see if I can fix up the... Go, give me this. Alright, weird. Don't know why on the recording it's showing, the screen is being so dark. It's not actually dark on my end. So this is a weird thing. So this weird top-down shot. Pajama Sam. 9 interactable things in that room. When you're on the boat in this in this similar top-down scene to this. And this one. Yeah, we have significantly fewer once again. However, it does seem like a lot of the things here are a little bit more detailed. In Pajama Sam, there was obviously some pretty solid, random interactable objects, but a lot of them were just, oh, there's a guy here for some reason.
I'll have some cheese squigglies, please.
Excellent choice.
here's how we get the first puzzle item. This is a scene that I always really remember enjoying as a kid, because there's so much stuff here you click on that's like actually acknowledged by the protagonist,
I'll have some cotton
which is
candy, please.
kind of weird how it's so novel, because, you know,
I'll have some hot cocoa, please.
there's so many things you click on in these games, and it's just, you know, this is the one thing. Here's actually a mildly interesting detail I do want to try and pay attention to is the various like dials and clocks and stuff like that. God, I really should have just recorded it. But with Pajama Sam, there was actually a in-game clock that did in fact use your real-world time for whenever you entered that area, which is quite interesting. And once again, we're back to just oh, these are multiple clicks. Huh. Okay. So I guess if you count that for like 4, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 7. So it seems like here we're leaving. Oh, I guess, yeah, if you count the hot chocolate in here, we're hitting 9 again. So I'm guessing things are probably going to average out as the game goes on. The intro screens are a little bit different, and, it's like map screen, I, understand, because you're not here for too long. I mean, in fact, we're already through. You never come back here. Yeah, wow. Who could have guessed, Putt Putt? Who could have guessed that this thing that's, I know this is made for children. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna take a camera.
It says hubcap.
Okay. Now, saying zoo, for people who can't read, okay, yeah, whatever, yeah, children. What child knows what a hubcap is? Even weirder, the cars in this game very distinctly don't have hubcaps. Like, they could have done one for, I understand for Putt Putt because they're, anime, but this is a stationary character. They never move. So why not put hubcaps to try and, teach something? I don't know, it's kind of weird that there's, little details like that. Actually, interesting thing about this is that, this does kind of mirror, the little face paints that you would have at zoos, in real life. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seems like we definitely, I've been paying too much attention there, but it seems like there is, in general, less things to click on, but there's also a much larger map in this game. I'm fairly certain. I mean, obviously, it's been a long time since I last actually played this. So we got, I think you count those as 1 for the sake of, it is still the same gag, because that's how a lot of this stuff would have to go down in development terms of, this is one asset that you are working on. This would be what you clock into work, you work on animating this eyeball. That's how game development realistically is. Is that, you'd come in for a day, and working on that might be everything that you get done. Obviously, it'd probably be more than just the one, you'd probably get done, that plus this. But, realistically, all of this artwork does take a long time, and also you have to consider that this is being run through, various people who are, directing and whatnot, who need to say, hey, we would go back and edit this. And an astounding puzzle we have here. It's actually kind of crazy how many items and also how elegantly the UI here is actually utilized. And it also just gives you a few things that you can just always click on, which I think is nice.
That's my gas gauge.
That's a weird thing for him to announce out of everything here. But I suppose that would be something a little bit more. And yeah, it seems like we are definitely trending back towards that 9 area again. And it really actually does reflect back into how these scenes are developed. Because, you look at this and you're like, okay, this is so overwhelming of like how much stuff is going on with so many screens. When you break it down to, okay, if you sat down, you get this main area here where you have a road, which leads to, left and to the right. This is the theme of the area. What do we add? All right, we start with some, rocks and shrubbery that you could click on. Go out and you're like, okay, well, we have a horizon line since we have this general shape that we need it to be. Because the background artists are separate from the people who are drawing all these individual objects and stuff like that. And it really does, as you break it down, be a lot more complete of, what you're actually doing in order to create something like this.
Little Messiah isn't always so sure on her hook. I hope she hasn't gotten into trouble.
Excuse me, Mrs. Giraffe.
Oh,
Are you looking
now
for
we have plot.
Messiah?
I am.
Maybe I can find her for you.
Something that I actually find
Nothing
really
would
weird
make
is
me happier.
all of
Me
these scenes.
neither, Mrs. Giraffe.
There's all
Can you
those
find
little
her?
like animated gags on each screen, but
Misses her.
since you have a system to break all those down, and you could realistically knock out a lot of them relatively quickly compared to what was probably a lengthy development process. These like animated scenes where we're switching to a different camera angle for just a single shot for a few seconds, that's actually a lot of work to do in an actual, game development. Also, you're switching between different rooms because you can't just, flash an image of that. I mean, you technically can, but it's not
I hope she comes
it's
home
not how
soon.
games really work efficiently. You're probably loading an actual cutscene, deloading all of this, and it's a whole thing.
Kenya, where could you be?
Kind of neat how you got these guys from the hubcaps. I mean, obviously, I know that they were here first and then the hubcaps later. But, neat how you do get that little bit of foreshadowing in the game. I think that something like that is probably what leads into, like, the,
Where
I don't know,
could she be?
childish mindset that you want to try and appeal to. I guess this thing kind of sensitive thinking things. Yeah, I'm just talking because, it's that kind of game. But yeah, we are.
I want my mama.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Bugabugaboo.
6, 7, 8,
Shoo.
and there's probably something. Here it is, 9. And yeah, like I said, every single time it really does put the scene together really simply. So when you start breaking it down, like I said before, you have, alright, you've got a straight path, you put it along the bottom. You have the puzzle element. Rule of thirds, you put it off to the corner a little bit. You give, good cinematography. Alright, well, since we're having it be up on the screen, we have to have it on a hill. We have to, have things coming off of that hill. We're still in this, jungle area, or this friggin' savannah area, so we take advantage. We have trees, rocks, all that stuff. And it's only a few objects being added one by one. And, like I said, you break it down, there's not actually that many things going on.
It's Baby Jumbo.
And I believe an absolute ages, but
Next, little mousey.
who could possibly forget some?
Giant scary mousey. Oh, thanks, Putt Putt. You're my hero. Oh gosh, Baby Jumbo. It was nothing. Now you better hurry home to your mama. Mama? Mama! Mama, baby Jumbo's coming home. I still need to rescue 5 animals so the zoo can open.
Man, I was about to say something, completely forgot. But yeah, I was just thinking about the actual like color compression to all this, right? Like the way that things are displayed. And I'm wondering why they would switch between these two graphical styles. And they have, specifically all this like super intense like dithering style to all of like the backgrounds and stuff here. And I mean, obviously, not saying anything about the look, but I definitely think that, it's a very different look compared to some of the other games. Or maybe it's something to do with like the way that I'm actually playing this, but the actual compression going on here is rather notable. I am wondering if this is actually a JPEG image, which, if that is the case, that would be fully understandable. When I was a kid, I believe I always did green because that was my favorite color.
Hot diggity!
Check out a few of these. See which one I like now. Oh god, that is... See, why does this look like this? The green does actually look very nice. Blue, I'm also... Oh, classic purple. Purple definitely looks, the most intentional. It also, funnily enough, doesn't change the GUI at the bottom here, which is kind of surprising because it would not take that much effort to do. I mean, compared to the amount of effort that it takes to swap out, the actual palette for Putt Putt himself with all of their animations. I think we'll do red here, though. No, it wasn't.
I look good.
That looks like a goatee, right? When he's doing that pose and you can see like what's behind it. Alright.
It says paint.
I believe that would be 4. 5. I'll count those 6. Yeah, huh.
We need to choose a color.
A lot less going on here. Alright. Another ring here. And, once again, like, you just put a path along the bottom. Everything else above just fills out super easily. I'm wondering why they are, or what their actual formula is here, because they did change it.
You got time for a game of animal tag?
I don't remember what this is, but do say sure.
Do you want this game to be easy, medium, or hard?
So, this is made for children?
Hope you meet the height requirement for this level. That's just a little joke. Now try
It's just
and
also
find
content.
8 zebras and
Alright.
10 flamingos
Oh,
and 6 cheetahs.
that's so much. Oh, it's... Oh no, I remember this. Wow, this is quite possibly one of the worst things ever.
Do you really
Alright.
want to leave?
Yes. Alright, so, random minigame. Neat. That'll probably never come up again. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, once again, same deal. 9 interactable objects. Here, we don't have anything to do, and I think I have probably proven my point of there's 9 things in 90% of rooms. It definitely is trending more towards that as the default for most of the things that are going on. You guys remember Jungle Land being my favorite as a kid, which probably was really in line with me enjoying stuff like the Twilight Forest mod and just big things like that. Alright. Alright. I have since these monkeys sing, I don't want to hear them sing. Since there's a song here, does that allow them to get away with doing less things? Or do they still have to... No. It looks like it. I mean, yeah, that's understandable, yeah. Oh, well, maybe not. Each of these posts... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... Alright, yeah, so what? Yeah, 9 objects. I thought that, you know, having song might have been something on the design document of you have song here, you have minigame, you could go lighter on things. But it really is just 9 things per room.
Where are you?
Just gonna get it. Scan it. Now, you could definitely tell, though, that they were really struggling when it came to file size in this. I mean, it is pushing what... Well, I mean, ultimately what the computers at the time were realistically, well, home computers and school computers and stuff like that, not actually. Like, what that stuff was capable.
How am I gonna get down from here?
I can't believe
Right. I think that might just be a... I do not remember this room in the slightest.
Sure is dark.
Oh. Is this where we use the power of teamwork?
How are you doing, Masai? Okay. Well, not too well, actually. I miss my mommy. As soon as I figure out a way to move that rock, you can go home. Okay, Masai. Get ready to help.
Alright, yeah, neat. It's kind of weird how much easier this game is. I guess when you have so many more objectives, you know, it's easier to make something like that feel like a grand adventure, so you're able to get away with having a lot more simplicity to various things. For a second I thought they were just gonna jump off the cliff. Alright.
I wonder where the kid.
Are you able to... I'm able to skip these. Huh.
That was swell.
Okay, this is a weird room. There's nothing to click on. It goes down an optional path, and there's just a unique song. I'm gonna assume it's some type of like developer credit Easter egg type thing. Definitely a weird thing to have. Especially because I don't remember any of the other games having such. So that isn't exactly something I would have paid attention to when I first played these games. So yeah. I mean, I say first played them non-stop when I was younger. Well, is what we needed here, I think. Yeah, you take this. No. Alright. Alright, click on it so it doesn't create. Oh, I guess that was the entire thing. Thought there was more going on to that. Oh yeah, I guess I should probably let that draft out. I don't think I was actually gonna. I just said I should.
Hey, there's a rope inside. This could come in handy. I think I'll borrow it.
So, I guess that is the way that it's similar to Pajama Sam's. There are a lot of one-item puzzles where you just have an item, use it to get a person or an objective, which kind of interesting now that I think about it, because I believe this game isn't randomized. Which there was 6 puzzles for items in Pajama Sam. In this game, you've got 5 animals, so it seems like they are definitely doing a similar set of, requirements or for what like is actually included in these games. Obviously, this game has a lot more in terms of assets, but here's where the something. Oh god, this is absolutely horrible.
Cold beverages. Got ice cold beverages. Get them while they're cold. Get them while they're icy.
Just want to scroll one point. It is actually interesting that despite all of the oh, well, didn't mean to do that. All right. So it seems like the mini game justifies them, unless possibly, each one of these sound effects. Wait, hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no. Okay. No, there's a few more things here. There's definitely less, but I guess there isn't as much screen real estate. So maybe that's their requirement of, you have a larger asset, so counts for more. Maybe it's like a point system or something like that they use. I mean, you definitely could fit, more things in here, or something like, the snowman here, where it just kind of, you could take the snowman here and slap it right, like, I guess like here over the corner. You could fit it like here and, or I guess more off the side here, probably. Have Putt Putt be down here a little bit more. You can definitely fit a lot more things on this screen if you really just are, forced to do so. Which, let's be honest, I don't know how game development was back then.
Samantha, oh Sammy, where are
I do
you?
not remember this. Oh, that might be why. I thought this was going to be like another thing like the Rapids, where there's a maze. Which also, Pajama Sam had a maze area in the mines, and this one had one for the Rapids, where you have a like quick time event where you gotta, you know, do all that and whatnot. But I'm just fine. Well, we'll let the animation play out.
Come on, Zanzibar. Don't be scared. Scared? I'm not scared. Here goes nothing. I'll make my pop proud. Whoa! Ah! Thanks a ton, Putt Putt. Now I can go home to my pop. Don't mention it. Have a great day. I still need to rescue 3 animals so the zoo can...
Alright, yeah, we understand. It is actually kind of crazy how if you just skip the like walking animations, how short this game really does become. Alright, let's start off with what as a kid I think was one of my, favorite puzzles. On account of I mean it technically requires I was paying attention. I was not paying attention. Oh, this is expecting me to click.
Doesn't look like that wrench is the right... Nope. This one doesn't fit.
Alright. I want to say that this is random. One of the very few things in this game that is.
Get ready, Sammy. I still...
Ugh.
Now that the... Now...
Huh. There's 7. And there's 8.
Now that...
Probably at 9 somewhere, or I miscounted. Alright. Neat. Also, this flower looks so strange.
It's a shovel.
Game massively lacks spectrum response to me. In response to me clicking the shovel there, that's kind of funny. Also funny, you could actually hear the lag spikes happen. Alright. There's another thing that's also interesting is this inventory space here, aside from just being an interesting, GUI element,
I am so...
would also take a lot of, planning to figure out, how you're actually spacing all this stuff out, what size the various item icons need to be, because you have stuff like this little bit of overlap here, which, to a normal person, that small little bit of overlap might not seem like much, but if you're designing a game and you have, all these icons, you need to tell someone, all right, this item needs to fit within this space. We need to have it have overlap, so it's going to have to extend out this many pixels, and we have this item here, which goes out here, and it rotates over this, and all that type of stuff there, and it goes out throughout every single item, and you have, I guess Pep here is a little bit of a wild card of, you could do a lot with making them fit into this, but, I mean, you also have to do that while making sure that all of the different items here are still recognizable and detailed for what they have to be. Which I feel like actually for this note here, if this was allowed to just be any size, or like in Pajama Sam, where it just has its own little window that comes up when you mouse over, you could have had some little scribbles here for showing the 5 animals. Maybe even had a little preview based off, how many you've got. Let's...
Maybe this will do the trick. I still need to rescue the last lost
Oh, kind of weird how you do keep a lot of these, like, random items, considering, realistically, you do not need, I mean, any of them to be in your inventory after the single use they have. What
I
is it?
should save my film for taking pictures of the zoo animals.
I don't remember ever... Oh, that's what this is for.
Great shot!
So you could go back and get the... Okay, that's cute. Which, yeah, this is again one of those things that this takes a lot more effort than those random, like, interactable click things. You have to, actually... and I said that this is a very simplistic background, and that's because that's what you have to do. I mean, even the background behind it, yeah, you get to reuse it for a few of them, but I mean, you are still creating massive art pieces that might not even be seen by a lot of players because, I mean, who's gonna stop and take... speaking of which, actually, are you able to take a picture of just anything?
Smile!
Huh. You can? Yeah, once again, yeah, you have the same generic stock background from before, but you also have this really weird and, strangely detailed, photo background, which... Oh, and you also get to flip through the... Okay, that's kind of neat, and it just shows that you've got multiple. It's actually really quickly before we, end things off here. Go through. Yeah. Oh. I'm trying to figure out if they've got... I mean, I guess this one, background is just a singular color, so I guess they were able to get away with it. Wow, every single... I was gonna comment something about how, like, this game doesn't have any equivalent to, like, the socks in Pajama Sam, but... Wow, there's a lot of detail that gets put into, all these small little photos that, again, no kid's gonna stop and see all of these. You can do the zebras in the background? You can. And I think this is a different... That's a different asset, too. They had to stop and make a different asset for these... I mean, you could count the pixels here. I mean, in fact, I will count the pixels. Right? Okay, so you got their feet, which are 2 pixels, it appears. Yep, they need the body. Go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like 12 by 12. These 12 by 12 zebras here in the background get a full, like, background dedicated to just them. Yeah, you can definitely see that. Yeah, Oh, and that's why you've got... Oh.
Smile!
That might explain what I was missing before when it came to some of these interactables, is I guess the photos probably contribute to this some amount, too. Alright, well now I feel like I definitely have to... Oh! There's a thing I missed before. Well, this isn't technically a full 100% completion, guide, but... Efficiency playthrough of just seeing all the stuff that is actually in the game. In, details. Oh, they get their own unique picture. Which I guess makes sense because, yeah, this one. Alright. Alright, now the question is... you can...
Great!
Oh, that's kind of cute. But yeah, once again, full unique background. It's down to these like three simplistic colors. You've got this one singular stripe, which is extra simplified. You've got what I think is actually, you've got this face sprite, which is reused, I believe. And you just got these simple gradients in the background. And once again, you have, you know, simple layered, gradient things. You've got this background, which is just flat color, no depth and really any detail. You can't really tell what the background of this is if you aren't, seeing it beforehand. Once again, simple gradient, basic flat color, and you just got, I believe this is actually an original sprite for this. Which, once again, even the iceberg before, and the iceberg is in the background. Nothing else in the game is just this solid white like this. It's all original. Someone had to sit down for the day, and I mean, it's a lot of effort that you have to put into something like this. So I mean, that's a very surprising feature, which I definitely don't think came back in any of the games. Which, I mean, understandable how that got swapped out for socks and Pajama Sam. All right. Oh, and even more like original artwork for the ending key. Oh, and you can click on them too. It's pretty neat. Yeah, and again, when it comes to like the actual assets, with like Putt Putt being a different color here, being respective of what you actually had in game, that takes a lot of effort to actually program something like that in. Like, yeah, it is once you do it, a relatively simple thing to add like a billion colors or whatever, but that is still something someone had to sit down and do. And I mean, I definitely think the color customization matters a lot more than these photos in terms of a player experience, but still, this is a lot of stuff that gets put into this game. And it's also, again, very simplified, layered backgrounds, very simple gradients, and they don't even necessarily make sense once you start analyzing them. That's okay because that's what you have to do when you are making a project, with this many assets in it. And it definitely, when you are laying this stuff out and you're really looking at it, it does become a lot easier to imagine making a game like this. And I mean, again, look at how many people are here. Really insane number when you really consider, I mean, there was probably one person in this, whose entire job was just make all these basic gradient backgrounds for all of this. And these are a different background between these. These could have been the exact same background, but they decided to make them just ever so slightly different, just so that way you could have this, actual friend. Oh god, image photography of you have this upward band. I muting game. You guys can enjoy the song if you want, and significantly lower volume now. But yeah, having the background bend based off the actual like action line of the image is a lot of detail that's being put into this, and that is a very shameless play. I guess I think this was their first game. It's also weird how like none of these are actually things that even remotely occur in the game. It's like the only time you get to see like this is an entire character design. I guess you probably had this in like an art book or something, in developer side. This is the only time this design is ever properly relevant. Because you're seeing it from above in two separate frames in the actual minigame that they are a part of. This is, I mean, you could only tell because there's the, red on their cheeks there. This was, definitely not intended to be, or this was intended to be with like the default coloring. And, it doesn't really make sense with some of the, colors that are available in the background there. And you got literally all of them on screen except for the purple, which very clearly is the, canon intended color that you should be. I do find it kind of weird how, like, I mean, I guess, yeah, if this stuff was actually in the game, that would take so much time to animate. Wow, and they just keep going with all these images. And you actually got actual image credit. It is really weird just to see these, you know, children's faces in this game, or just any, you know, photos at all. I just want to make some type of joke about this and furries and okay. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Like obviously, yeah, they are like children voiced, but like, I mean, I don't know. You don't really think about, you know, there was an actual just child who was told, "Hey, come into this studio one day. You get to voice a character in this game." Which I mean, I wonder how many of them actually. I mean, I would assume all of them had access, but like this girl looks a little bit older. I don't know if they would have played it. You know, I mean, by now, probably like 20 years later, or whatever, they were like, "Oh yeah, I was in this game. You know, let's play it." But like, how many of these people actually? How many of these kids that voiced it actually like played and properly enjoyed the game? It's always something you gotta, think about when you're doing creative projects. Of you will never actually be able to truly enjoy what you made because of the actual, time that you yourself are putting into it compared to, you know, what other people could get because they are getting the full experience that you're intended for them versus your experience that is automatically so drastically biased from working in such small little chunks. We'll start from the beginning very briefly. Yeah, this is a surprisingly short game.
Too bad the zoo.
I also didn't go to here before, which I believe. All right.
Well,
Which also the camera fully missable as an item.
great.
This background here is only used for. Sounds like. Is there any other animals here?
It's a map of the Cartown Zoo.
But yeah, it like when you look at this from above, looks super complex and stuff like that, but like when you simplify this down to what the actual design document looked like and just the actual lines, you have, you know, okay, here we have a very simple junction, here we have simple junction way, here we need to have a shot of this cliffside, so we need to have it wrap around. Here we have straight line, straight line, straight line, Uh it's just, slapping that stuff all together. I guess the most interesting thing is considering how, making those areas an actual 3D space. I definitely think it's a little less believable around like this top side here. Some of the places where you could see, Iceland super far off in the distance, but you know, it is definitely interesting to think about. Oh, damn, like just drawbridge. Okay, that's weird. That's named like that. Huh. But yeah, you have all the actual animals named here. Observation point, which again, I guess that makes sense because it's a collection of animals. So I guess this would be a little guide to showing, where you can get photos of all of the animals at. Actually, speaking of which, this might be the first time that anyone has.
Save my film for taking pictures of the zoo animals.
I guess that makes sense. But I am still going to go back through here to see if there is any like random things that you could. Oh, you can. This is
Stay
definitely one of the more obscure photos in this game. And yeah, I am glad. I can't help but go back and achievement hunt for stuff like this. It's one of those things that actually makes these games replayable, is having, small little trinkets like this. Something I feel like a lot of games nowadays don't really, properly take the time to appreciate. Why are you painting this blue? But even just like simple mechanics like that can add so much to the replayability of a game. Even something that is admittedly, you know, sillily short. Sillily? Hey, words. We already saw that. Oh. So that's funny. You actually have to prove that you know what the puzzle is before it lets you just click through that. I don't know why I went there. Huh. Yeah, they do have a before and after for all of those. Okay. Oh, I guess I can't go here yet. Right, you actually need to. All right. Yeah. It is kind of disappointing how this game does not have any, randomness to this or shuffling of the puzzles. It is completely the same every single time. I don't know, but they are different photos when you do that. This one is. This must have taken a lot of effort to do. I actually wonder if this is just a earlier version of the scene, since we have a fairly radically different design for the mouse. Yeah, that is not even remotely similar to the design we have now. So I think that might be what they actually did for these. Is that these might actually be like concept art for some of these things. Obviously, not all of them. That appears to be what's going on here when you consider, we've got this belly thing here and no mouth. Here we have mouth, no belly thing. The ears are, more detailed on this one and also have a line around the back versus here where it is, nothing. You just have both ears visible. The tail is ever so slightly different, where here it's a little bit more upwards. Here it's a lot more windy. Also, the general body shape feels. Is the silhouette the same? The silhouette's not the same. Yeah, this one is a little bit lengthier. You've got space between their arms versus here, where their arms are a little bit more, up put to give them that, more menacing type of appearance to them. Interesting bit of sign language. All right. We're gonna photo this guy specifically. Okay. Do it for all of these guys. Wow. It is a lot of God. That's cute. But yeah, this is a lot of assets to make. Like this stuff takes a lot more time doing actual like fully detailed, things here. Oh, they missed a pixel. I was about to say, like, because these are all, fully detailed, and they're generally not missing a pixel, except for this one, which has one right here, like, up on the nose. I don't know if you could see it uh, too well. I guess I could zoom in on the OBS here. Yeah, right there. That's singular missing pixel. Uh, there we go. I'm going to take a look at some of these. But okay, yeah, you need them to be in that state, which actually that means that they are a different object before they have that facial expression change. That's what. Wait, that flower isn't there anymore. uh, this rock is one of the most detailed side elements in these photos. That's awfully strange. I mean, these all obviously have a lot of personality to them, but you know, like the level of detailing that goes on here. Also, though, is that fully dithered back in the? Maybe I'm just going crazy, but yeah, they aren't dithered here. So for those who don't know, dithering is basically the checkerboarding that some sprites have in order to have that illusion of shading. Technically, what's going on the floor here wouldn't be called dithering necessarily because it doesn't have the very defined checkerboard shape, but it is technically the same principle, logic, and it's technically known as a different technique when done that way. There's no way to go backwards through these, which is a little bit annoying. You could only go forward. But yeah, you see, the cotton candy here, it is just it is purely dithered. It is a checkerboard of just two different shades of pink, which definitely kind of falls in my theory before of these are from an earlier point in development. I mean, even the other details on slightly different. No, those are the same.
I'll have some cotton candy, please.
But the cotton candy being completely, different definitely lends to that theory of these being from a slightly earlier time in development, which consider if you had to, redo this entire animation here, every single frame of this, with a slightly different cotton candy. Though, what realistically probably happened was, before you have these small little minor click effects with all the animations, you just have a, flat go at everything without all these details. Probably actually with backgrounds that look more like these than the ones in the actual game. It's very easy to see a version of this game where you just have this is the background when you go up to see this guy, and reusing assets like that is a very easy way to get every penny of value from these things. Yeah, not really at the end of the game, very satisfying conclusion, but I think that's definitely where we could wrap this video up. I hope you all enjoyed this little excursion into some old PC gaming.